Your heating bill is lying to you. Every single winter, you hand over hundreds, sometimes thousands, of dollars to a system that was never designed to serve you. It was designed to keep you dependent, and it was designed to make sure you never questioned whether there was another way. And somewhere out there, people who have nothing, no house, no income, no grid connection, no utility account, have quietly figured out how to stay warm for free. Not with a miracle product, not with a subscription, with trash, specifically with the empty soda cans sitting in your recycling bin right now. One man figured this out living under a highway overpass in the dead of a Minnesota winter, and the method he used is so simple, so ancient in its logic, and so brutally effective that the heating industry would rather you never heard of it. Today, that changes. Picture this. It is February in Minneapolis. The temperature outside is 9 degrees Fahrenheit. Under the Lowry Avenue Bridge, a man named Marcus has built something against the south-facing concrete wall of his encampment. It looks, at first glance, like garbage. And in a way, it is. Old wooden shipping pallets, flattened and nailed together into a shallow rectangular box about 4 feet wide and 3 feet tall. Inside that box, arranged in neat vertical columns, are rows of aluminum soda cans, dozens of them. Every single one painted flat black with a can of spray paint he found in a dumpster behind an art supply store. Stretched across the front of the box, held tight with duct tape around the edges, is a sheet of clear plastic salvaged from a discarded storm window. A small hole cut in the bottom. Through another hole cut in the top, a piece of dryer vent hose connecting the top hole through a gap in the tarp wall of his shelter. That is the entire device. No electricity, no moving parts, no monthly payment, no technician. When the sun comes out, even on that 9-degree morning, Marcus's shelter fills with warm air. Not slightly warm, genuinely, measurably stay alive warm. And he built the whole thing for less than the cost of a fast food meal. So here's the question that should be rattling around in your head right now. If a man with nothing, literally nothing, figured out how to heat a space using the sun and recycled garbage, why are you still paying $200 a month for the privilege of being warm in your own home? Before we go any further, drop a comment right now. Tell me, what did you spend on heating last winter? Because I want you to see that number sitting in front of you when we get to the part where this all starts making you angry. And stay with me, because what you're about to discover will change how you see your utility bill, your thermostat, and every empty soda can you've ever thrown away. Here's the thing about modern heating. We've been sold a story. The story goes like this. Heating a space is complicated. It requires professional equipment, professional installation, professional maintenance, and a professional monthly bill. The story is reinforced every October when the ads start. New smart thermostats, new high-efficiency furnaces, new portable electric space heaters with sleek designs and 3-year warranties. Then you walk into a hardware store and the cheapest space heater on the shelf costs $40 and runs on electricity at roughly 15 cents per kilowatt hour. Run it 8 hours a day for a month and you've added $30 to $50 to your electric bill for one room. And that's the cheap option. A central gas furnace system installed professionally runs anywhere from $3,000 to $12,000. A heat pump, which the industry currently loves to push as the green solution, costs $8,000 to $15,000 before installation. Modern heating is an industry designed around a single principle: make you dependent on a system so large and expensive that you cannot imagine an alternative. Pile on the complexity. Add the smart controls. Make it seem like heat itself is something that only trained professionals and industrial equipment can produce, and then charge you for it every single month for the rest of your life. Compare that to what Marcus built. No installation, no electricity bill, no maintenance contract. On a clear, sunny day in February, with ambient air temperatures well below freezing, his setup was producing outlet air temperatures well over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Not because of any miracle, because of physics, because of a principle so old and so simple that the ancient Greeks wrote about it more than 2,000 years ago. Here's where it gets worse. You were never supposed to know this, The modern heating industry didn't displace simple solar heating because solar heating stopped working. It displaced it because solar heating cannot be metered. You cannot charge someone a monthly fee for the sun. You cannot install a smart thermostat on a wooden box full of black painted cans. You cannot dispatch a service technician to a sheet of polycarbonate and 2 holes in a wall. The industry didn't offer you a better solution. It offered you a billable one. And the moment cheap natural gas became widely available in the mid-20th century, the economic incentive to understand passive solar heating, which had been studied, refined, and documented for decades, simply evaporated. The knowledge didn't vanish. It was abandoned. And then quietly, the people who abandoned it let you believe it never existed. That failure is not yours. Your heating bill is not a reflection of your intelligence or your resourcefulness. It is a reflection of a system that was redesigned around profit and then handed to you as if it were the only option. You were given broken instructions. The solution was always there. So let's talk about what Marcus actually built and why it works so well that universities study it. Governments have tested it, and a commercial version of the same basic technology has been installed on industrial buildings to save companies millions of dollars a year. Layer 1, the black surface. This is where everything starts. When sunlight hits a dark-colored surface, it does not bounce. It is absorbed. A flat black painted surface, the kind you get from a can of matte black spray paint, absorbs roughly 95% of all incoming solar radiation. Think about that. 95%. The surface doesn't reflect it. It doesn't transmit it. It devours it and converts it directly into heat. This is why black asphalt gets so hot you could fry an egg on it in July. Marcus didn't need a physics textbook to figure this out. He needed a can of spray paint, but here's why soda cans matter specifically. And this is where the design becomes genuinely ingenious. A cylindrical aluminum can has more surface area than a flat plate of equivalent height and width, about 3 times more usable surface area per linear inch. When you stack those cans and columns inside a collector box, you create a kind of thermal gauntlet. Air enters at the bottom, travels upward through the narrow channels between the cans, and every inch of that journey, it is being heated by black aluminum that has soaked up the sun. Aluminum conducts heat extraordinarily well, about 205 watts per meter per Kelvin. It doesn't hold on to that heat politely and wait. It hands it off immediately, aggressively, to whatever air passes through it. The air doesn't have time to stay cold. It arrives one temperature and leaves another. If you're finding this valuable and this is already changing how you see the engineering hiding inside a recycled can, now's a good time to hit, so more people can see this. Layer 2, the greenhouse cover. This is the piece that most people overlook, and it is arguably more important than the black paint. When Marcus stretched that clear plastic across the front of his box, he did something deceptively powerful. Sunlight, short wavelength, high-energy radiation passes straight through transparent materials like glass and plastic with almost no interference, but heat, long-wavelength infrared radiation, does not pass back through as easily. It gets partially trapped. The air inside the collector box heats up and has nowhere to go. The glazing isn't just a window. It's a one-way valve for energy. Think of it like a revolving door that only spins one direction. Energy gets in, energy struggles to get out. Researchers at the University of Alaska found something fascinating when they studied this effect closely. The most important mechanism isn't actually the infrared trapping, it's convection suppression. The glazing physically stops the warm air inside the collector from mixing with cold outside air. It creates a protected thermal zone, a pocket of captured heat that builds and builds as long as the sun shines. Even a sheet of cheap polyethylene plastic, the kind used in greenhouse applications, achieves most of this effect, which means the glazing on a budget build doesn't have to be expensive. It just has to exist. Layer 3. The chimney effect. Hot air rises. This is not a controversial statement. It is one of the oldest and most reliable forces in nature. When Marcus cut a hole in the bottom of his collector box and another hole in the top, he created a natural air pump that requires no electricity, no motor, and no moving parts whatsoever. Cold room air enters at the bottom, drawn in because it is denser and heavier. It travels up through the columns of hot black cans, picking up heat the entire way. By the time it exits through the top hole and into the living space, it has been transformed. The rate of this natural convection isn't enormous. A passive system like this moves air more slowly than a fan would, but it is continuous, silent, and free. Field-documented builds using passive convection alone consistently show temperature rises of 15 to 25 degrees Fahrenheit between inlet and outlet. Add a small computer fan powered by a single solar panel or a modest battery, and documented temperature rises jump to 50, 60, sometimes 70 degrees Fahrenheit or more. One builder in northern Michigan, using 240 cans in a 20-square-foot collector, recorded interior collector temperatures of 172 degrees Fahrenheit, while the outside air temperature was 4 degrees. His furnace didn't run during sunlight hours. His gas bill dropped 18%. The first March the system was operational. That's not a science experiment. That's a result. Here's the part that should make you angry. This technology has been rigorously tested. It is not fringe. It is not folk wisdom. The U.S. Department of Energy and the National Renewable Energy Laboratory have tested transpired solar collectors, the industrial cousin of Marcus's box, and measured average efficiencies of 63% with peaks approaching 80%. A commercial product called Cancelair, made in Newfoundland, Canada, has been manufacturing soda can-based solar air heaters since 1987. The independent testing of their unit measured a peak output of 9,720 BTU per hour, roughly the equivalent of a full-size portable electric space heater, with a 54-degree temperature rise. Researchers published a peer-reviewed comparative study showing that diagonal can arrangements achieve thermal efficiency approaching 98% under optimal conditions. This has been known. It has been documented. It has been sitting in the literature for decades. And yet, when you walk into a hardware store this winter, no one will mention it, because there is nothing to sell you now. Why did we abandon this? The answer follows a pattern you will recognize from every other field where simple, effective methods got replaced by expensive, complicated ones. Speed was the first factor. Industrial-scale housing construction in the post-war era required systems that could be installed quickly and uniformly across thousands of identical homes. A passive solar collector is site-specific. It depends on orientation, local climate, and the specific geometry of the building. You cannot cookie-cutter it, so it got dropped. Cost was the second factor. For a single builder constructing a single home and paying their own heating bills for decades, passive solar makes overwhelming financial sense. For a developer building 500 homes to sell to other people who will pay the bills, it adds upfront complexity for zero benefit to the developer. The developer chose the furnace every single time. The third factor was cheap fuel. When natural gas infrastructure expanded across North America through the 1950s and 1960s, the heating became so inexpensive that the economics of passive solar seemed almost irrelevant. Why bother with a carefully designed south-facing collector when you could just turn up the thermostat? What nobody told you, what the whole equation conveniently left out, is that the gas was never actually cheap. The price was just deferred, paid through extraction costs, infrastructure maintenance, geopolitical entanglements, and environmental consequences that don't show up on your monthly bill. You were handed a system with hidden costs and told it was the affordable option. You are paying for that decision every single winter. So here is what you do now, and I want you to hear me. You don't have to rebuild your house. You don't have to go off grid. You don't have to make any drastic change. Start wherever you are. The easiest entry point is this. Find a south-facing window. Any window that gets direct sun for most of the day between November and March. Place a sheet of dark-colored material, black cardboard, black felt, even a dark towel, in front of that window at a slight angle with a gap at the bottom and a gap at the top. It will create a miniature convection loop. You will feel warm air rising from the top gap. It is not powerful, but it is free. It works right now, and it will show you the principle with your own hands in about 15 minutes. The intermediate build, the one that actually delivers meaningful heat, takes a weekend and costs between $50 and $150. You need a shallow wooden box, roughly 4 feet by 3 feet. Fill the inside with columns of aluminum cans. Start saving them now. Or ask a bar or restaurant for their recycling. Drill or punch a hole in the top and bottom of each can so they stack and allow airflow. Paint everything inside the box flat black with high-temperature spray paint, the kind made for barbecue grills, which handles the temperatures without off-gassing. Cover the front with twin-wall polycarbonate sheet, available at any hardware store for roughly $30 for a small sheet. Cut an inlet hole in the bottom of the box and an outlet hole in the top. Mount it on a south-facing exterior wall or lean it against a south-facing window, angled to face the winter sun. Connect the outlet to a room via a dryer vent hose. Add a small 12-volt computer fan to the inlet if you want to significantly boost output. On a clear winter day, that box will push air above 100 degrees Fahrenheit into your living space for as many hours as the sun is out. If you don't want to build anything and you just want to stop getting fooled by fake alternatives, here is your minimum. Any product that claims to heat a significant space on solar power alone for pennies, that comes in a palm-sized device, that ships from overseas, that costs under $50, that promises to eliminate your heating bill. It is a repackaged air freshener or a dollar store fan. Walk away. Real solar thermal heating requires surface area. It requires glazing. It requires volume. There is no shortcut to the physics. Marcus understood something that most people with houses and furnaces and utility accounts have been carefully conditioned to forget. The sun is not a supplement. It is not a novelty. It is the most reliable, most abundant, most democratic energy source on Earth. And it arrives every single clear day, whether you have built something to capture it or not. Every sunny winter day you haven't used that heat is a day you paid for something that was available for free. He was not a fool living under a bridge. He was an engineer working with what he had. He was practicing a form of knowledge that is thousands of years old and has never once stopped being true. The knowledge wasn't lost. It was traded away, exchanged for a monthly payment and the illusion of a more sophisticated solution. If this video opened your eyes to something that should have been yours all along, subscribe, because this channel exists to dig up exactly this kind of knowledge. The practical, the ancient, the elegant, the deliberately simple, the solutions that work without a subscription, without a technician, and without a bill. Tell us in the comments, what topic do you want us to investigate next? What expensive problem in your life are you starting to suspect has a free answer hiding in plain sight?